Here's my 5-motor laser spirograph. It has 5 computer fans, each with a 2-inch mirror at a slight angle. 5 potentiometers to control speed. And then there's 5 switches, so you can switch them off if you want. The laser is just a cheapy 5 milliwatt eBay laser. It doesn't work very well, but it works. The laser also has a switch, and then of course master switch for the fans, turns them all off at once. Box I made myself. Wiring's all done by myself. Lasers run off a 3-volt 1-amp power supply. Bought on eBay for like $3. The fans are run off of 12-volt 1.5-amp power supply with a modified fuse because its fuse blew way too easily. And this hasn't overheated at all, so it's not a big deal. I've run it for hours and hours and hours, and it hasn't gotten hot, so it can take a little bit extra current. I would not recommend computer fans because they can't run at very low speeds. So, and I find that the slower you run them, the better effects you get, and they can't go very slow at all. I'd also recommend PWMs as opposed to potentiometers because they don't work very well. Potentiometers, they get hot, they don't control the fan speed very efficiently, so PWMs would be much better motor controllers. Pretty simple. I think 5 fans is kind of frivolous. You really only need 4 maximum. 3 would be enough even, because after 3 fans it just turns into gibberish. It doesn't look any good at all. So let's see it run. you're going to build one for yourself, I'd recommend not putting in 5 fans, because it's just kind of pointless. 4 fans works fine. Don't use computer fans if you can. They're easier, and they offer a better placed amount of mirror, but they can't run at very slow speeds, and kind of noisy. I don't know how much quieter hobby motors would be, but it'd probably be better. And if you can't afford it, try and get something brighter than 5 milliwatts, because it's not very bright. It's only really bright in a small room like this. I used this in a gymnasium for a Battle of the Bands, and the laser hardly stood out in a dark room. So I would recommend 50 milliwatts at least, if you can afford it. And also, if you can, try not to use 2 power supplies. Try to incorporate the laser and the motors onto 1 power supply, because it's really annoying to have to carry on 2 power supplies to power both the fans and the laser. That's about it.